All right, local swell trackers Tuesday. Wow, what a month it's started off to be. And we have got, well, the jet stream nearly non-existent here. We have this upper level disturbance you can see way above the islands. We also have Flossie here. These are the upper regions, so we can't see Flossie right here. But you see a lot of blues, very quiet in the jet stream. Like down below, you see this zonal flow in the northern branch of the South Pac jet stream. That's what the North Shore looks like during winter months. So you can see the difference between summer and winter in one glance. You can see the southern branch staying dominant. A lot of the energy in the TAS. We have some flows up towards the east coast of New Zealand, off and on. Not strong winds, but some stuff does get going. But it's a lot of, this is indicative of a lot of Tasman Sea swell energy. Stuff coming up deep southeast in the TAS, as you can see these flows. Generally, the jet stream helps to spawn storms at the surface and then steer them. That's what we got going up here. We see a little something spinning off of the Kurile Islands for a low that spins down at the surface, which ends up getting centered off Kamchatka. We've got a long haul of the North Shore is going to be waking up. Let me get to that right now for you. It's not really thanks to the jet stream, but thanks to typhoons popping off near Guam, the Philippines, and Japan. So here we are today, Tuesday, August 6th. There's the remnants of weak tropical storm Flossie, still causing some waves, easily four feet up on the windward shorelines of all the coastlines. In fact, advisory still posted for us in Kauai waters. Big Island's a little quieter as the fetch has passed them, but the circulation is now weakening and moving further away. There's also, again, this a trough aloft, stationed several hundred miles northwest of Kauai. It's slow. It's a slow-moving low within the trough. Again, you combine that with all the moisture drawn in over the islands by Flossie. Boy, it's making for some unstable atmosphere here. And so that's what's going on. Very, very muggy. Again, it's about midday on Tuesday. Let's roll in the animations. You can see a couple storms popping over here. This is Crosa here off of far away from Guam, but it's approaching Guam, and this thing is going to build. We'll keep an eye on that. That is going to be the cause of some west swell, straight 270-degree west swell, and we got more on the way. So let's roll these out, take a look. There's Crosa building into just a massive typhoon heading up towards Japan. They'll get some 40-foot waves out of that. It tries to recurve. You see this guy spinning off? It kind of like it's spawned. It's like an offshoot of this typhoon. Currently, today, a tropical storm, but this is Crosa or Crosa. That's going to be producing tons of waves. Not big, but plenty of west to west-northwest swell starting on the 13th and lasting for over a week. And closer to us, disturbance, a high pressure off here to our northeast. By Friday, things start to normalize. Sun comes out, trade winds begin to come back. But until then, we're in this muggy, sea breezy condition. Now, waters for the Big Island and Maui have a southeast flow. And for the western waters, Oahu, Kauai, etc., more of a variable, well, northerly flow in the morning. It was so clean and so pretty this morning. When you take a look at next Tuesday, a week out from today, if the model fantasy pans out, we'll be seeing some northwest swell from this system at about 160 east, heading towards the date line. This is Crosa over here, just nicking Japan at this point. We'll hope for the best for Japan. Let's take a quick look back, going back Wednesday, July 31st. This was Eric here that ended up passing south of us, and then Flossie over here that ended up hugging our windward coast and bringing a ton of advisory level swell as well. Starting in the animations, luckily both of them, we really skirted this. Both of them weakened. There was a lot of wind shear. It chops off the tops of these systems, and it causes them to fade out. This is Tuesday, today the 6th. These are the beginnings of these tropical storms, which turn into typhoons. Next to us here, Flossie, which will be moving out of here, and the effects will be diminishing quickly as of tomorrow. Let's take a look at the swell periods generated by the systems we're looking at. You see all these long period lines coming in from Flossie. That led to some solid 6-foot waves on Sunday midday to miss those spots along the windward side, kind of secret spots as well as the typical spots around in and around Makapu'u. Sandy Beach got solid 4 feet, and these lines here are from Flossie. These are the south swells heading up to the west coast. Plenty action there. Here's a Tasman Sea swell coming up. We're seeing it popping on the buoys today at 16, 18-second forerunners. We'll be looking at fun Tasman Sea swells up in that head-high, occasional head-high range with more reinforcement from the southwest and south-southwest starting Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Again, all in that, waist to head high or 1 to 3 foot range. Now the lines way over here by Japan, that was from Hurricane Eric. Starting in the animations again, here comes the south swells with those long periods. Those purple ones are like 20 plus seconds. The swell generation zone way down there, 5,000 miles away. Well, the faster, longer periods driven by the higher winds within that storm, they run out ahead of the shorter period swells. It's all about a spectrum. It's not an off and on switch. Waves are much more mysterious than that. And the cool thing about swell periods, they can travel thousands of miles and sustain most of their energy. The swell heights generated will lose about half their height every 1,000 miles traveled. So by the time this guy gets up to Alaska, we're talking a half a foot maybe of swell, but the same good old 20 plus seconds. We'll roll out the animations and let the swells come from the south. And here comes those west swells. This is Sunday the 11th when we're sitting right here at about 160 west. We'll just be getting them probably sometime Sunday, especially Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll have some 3-foot solid sets at spots that like a straight west, again 270, and even southern shores are going to be getting it because it'll be coming underneath Niihau and Kauai. And so the Big Island all the way up to the southern shores of Kauai, and of course Niihau getting some nice west swell. And there'll be many pulses from it. This is Tuesday, and then we roll these things out further. Here's another batch coming from the west, Wednesday the 14th, about a half a day off. And some spots, again, easily head high. If we're lucky, they'll really refract these long periods. We're talking about 16 seconds on these guys. So west swells have a cool way of allowing those spots that hardly ever break to deliver some real fun. We are expecting trades during this time. Now let's take a look down under. This is going back a week, Tuesday the 30th. This fetch in the Tasman Sea is the source of the current swell. Some of it, it's not the strongest. Fiji got plenty. It got some 10-footers out of that. There are some more Tasman Sea swell for Thursday. That's the one that's going to bump us up with 15 seconds and get solid 3 feet. Some of the fetch got, as a part of that system, did get off to the other side of the island of New Zealand. That'll add reinforcement to the already agitated seas from the Tasman Sea. This is Saturday the 3rd. Some 55 knot or storm force gales far southeast in the Tas. Very wide, long fetch. That's why we are looking at, probably about a foot overhead on Saturday from this fetch you're looking at, these surface winds you're looking at right here. We'll keep rolling these things out into Sunday. The fetch stays long. The problem with this one, it rolls right over New Zealand. It does end up getting off to the east coast. And this is good enough to average out 2.5 foot of swell at 14 seconds on Monday, the 12th. And that should be enough for 2 to 3 with isolated spots hitting 4 feet on this one. That will slowly fade on the 13th, 14th, and 15th especially. We'll bring the surface winds current. There's this wide fetch pointing most of its energy off to the Americas. We'll see some sideband swell from this portion. From its earlier time that I was just showing you, it had a better bullseye towards Hawaii, but we'll still again be really playful. Rolling these things out towards the 8th, you can see we go into a quiet period, and then it takes a few days, and then we're back with some serious Tasman fetch trying to get going here. Some swell far off the New Zealand coast. Nothing major here on the 11th, but it should allow for some southwest swell Sunday the 8th of 2 feet, maybe 3 if we're lucky. From again, this guy spinning off right here. Fiji is going to go off, and then it gets off. And then on Wednesday, August 14th, there's another really wide fetch, sending a lot of its energy to our southeast and off to California and the Americas. However, Wave Watch 3 still wants to be fairly generous on this one and send us some 4-footers, partial sideband swell, thanks to swell dispersion. The system is broad enough. Let's go back and take a look at the swells in the ocean produced by those surface winds. This is again Tuesday the 30th. It doesn't look much here. The surface winds actually make it look like we're going to get the swells Wave Watch 3 is predicting. The swells, New Zealand kind of gets in the way, and the tracks are fairly zonal. But this guy's big enough. Take a look at the how much energy that is in the deep Tas. This is Saturday the 3rd, and rolling these things out further, you can see how it meshes right in with New Zealand. That really stops it for us. And then here we go. It's out to the southeast, but still hugging the coast on Monday the 5th. And thanks to this system to the north, will allow these seas below it to build up a little bit bigger. It does last long enough, and it's broad enough for some 2 to 3, likely 4-footers for the 12th, 13th, and 14th. Taking a look at the swell periods, this is today, Tuesday. See a lot of the energy coming up. We're about a click right where the storm surf logo is. That's about where we are, a couple clicks outside of the view. Here comes those long period forerunners from the Tasman Sea swell here. Here comes that swell that, like I was saying, was passing us off. Enough of it will make its way up. Plenty, again, from the southwest to south-southwest, all the way through the 7-day forecast period. All right, let's take a look at the surface charts. Here's the high pressure far to the northeast. This disturbance down at the surface up here has a front. It has pushed the ridge towards the islands, cutting the trades, especially for the next several days. This is that area of frothiness on the south side of these low pressures. Here comes the next high into the picture, trying to reestablish some sunshine and trade winds towards the end of the week. At any rate, Flossie is in here. It just doesn't show up on the hand-drawn surface charts here, but that is adding to the instability, of course. And we do have some flare-ups from Flossie. Isolated thunderstorms definitely still flaring off and on, especially around the system and areas of the Big Island and Maui. Looks like light to moderate easterly winds for the western half of the state. Pinch of southeast. We'll be into this sea breeze, land breeze regime, especially over the smaller islands. And again, that southerly flow for the windward Big Island and adjacent waters. Isolated thunderstorms. And back to a more stable light trade wind pattern Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The water vapor loops are showing the instability and those flare-ups I was just talking about from Flossie. There's the upper level spinner to the northwest of Kauai. And you can see how it's drawing up all that moisture from the tropics. Here we are at 160, and plenty of clouds, especially to the northwest of Kauai, once again being drawn up by all these systems in the area. Drill down a little bit closer, will tell you highs going to be in the upper 80s, 90, feels like 190 degrees. So moist, it's up there, and the humidity. Lows in the lower 70s. We'll drill down a little bit further. It makes it easy to see that Flossie has really worked her magic over the past week. And we'll close out looking at windy.com. Flossie right here. There's the fetch. This is the reason why Kauai and Oahu windward waters are bigger than Maui and the Big Island, because Flossie's fetch and circulation has tracked further up the island chain. And this is the last of it. It did lead to some clean, solid 4-footers out at Makapu'u here this morning. By Friday the 9th at 10 a.m., Typhoon Croza will be sending us some west swell. You can see it as it spins counterclockwise, points right over here to Hawaii. That'll all start lighting up next week. And all these colors you're seeing off of New Zealand for today, these are the winds that'll be pumping us up early next week. Actually as early as Sunday the 11th, and swell lasting for about 4 days in that head high to just overhead range. And that's your local swell tracker. I'll be back weekend after next, right here at surfnewsnetwork.com. Thanks for clicking in. Aloha.